right, Aries, let's get into your reading.
All right, the energy coming through today is this, so come in close and stay with me.
The message I have for you carries real weight, and you are going to feel all of it. There is a reunion forming around you, and somebody out there has reached a final decision. This person carried silence toward you, and they regret every single quiet moment of it. They know what they did when they pulled away, and that choice haunts them constantly now. The distance was never meant to stretch this far, and even they did not expect it to linger. Something shifted inside of them recently, and it cracked open everything they held back from you. That silence was supposed to protect them, but instead it became the very thing that tore them apart. You have been on their mind in ways they cannot explain, and it grows louder with each day. The guilt alone would be enough to bring them forward, but the longing is what truly drives this. Let us go ahead and dive into this because the cards confirm what the pull already brought forward. The first card we have for you is the Tower in reverse, and it arrived with undeniable force. What this reveals is that a collapse almost happened, but something held your connection together, barely. This person wanted to shut the entire bond down, and the universe refused to close that door. The foundation between you cracked under immense pressure, yet it never fully shattered into nothing. In the reversed position, all that destruction turned inward, consuming them instead of erupting outward. They sat inside that silence, believing they were guarding their peace, but they only deepened the wound. Every barrier they constructed against you became a mirror, reflecting back what they tried to bury. The quiet did not bring them relief. It brought them face to face with how wrong they were. And the longer they stayed away from you, the louder your absence screamed inside their chest. The next card coming through is the Six of Cups, and this one reframes the entire reading. This card carries nostalgia so thick you could almost feel it pressing right against your chest. Memories of what you two built keep circling back over and over without any mercy at all. The comfort, the warmth, the way everything felt when nothing stood between you, it all floods back. Old emotions resurfaced in ways they were never prepared for, and it caught them off guard completely. They remember a version of this bond that felt effortless, and that memory refuses to let them go. There are moments from your past together that play on repeat, and those moments will not fade. This card does not surface unless the roots run far deeper, far stronger than either person understood. You left a permanent mark on them, and no amount of silence or distance could wash it clean. They tried to move forward without you, and every step only pulled them closer, right back to you. Then we have the Hierophant, and this is where the message locks completely into place with clarity. This card represents devotion, sacred tradition, and a bond that carries genuine spiritual weight behind it. What the cards confirm is that your connection was never just surface level. It was built for meaning. This person recognizes now that walking away from something sacred left them feeling hollow and incomplete. The silence they gave you was never rooted in indifference. It was only fear disguised as distance. They understand now that shutting you out did not erase a thing. It magnified how much you matter. There is a reverence in this card that cannot be ignored, and it points directly to your bond. They have been carrying the weight of a decision they already know the answer to, deep inside. That regret they carry is not passing through. It has taken permanent residence deep inside of them. The reunion these cards point toward is not built on impulse. It is built on a final decision. This person is finished pretending that silence was ever the answer, because the cards say otherwise now. What is gathering around this connection is undeniable, and it has been building for a very long time. You are not imagining this shift, and neither are they, because everything here confirms the same truth. The message today could not be more clear, and it is only the beginning of what comes next.
So let us come in close and look at what is happening on your side right now. You have been carrying more than most people could hold, and it shows in your energy. The weight of this silence did not just sit on your chest, it settled into your bones. You kept moving forward because that is what you do, but the ache never truly left you. The first card pulled for you is the Queen of Swords, and she reveals your entire inner state. There is a sharpness in the way you protect yourself lately, and it was built from real pain. You learned how to guard your heart with logic, and you turned emotion into something controlled. Every conversation you replay in your head, you filter through reason instead of letting yourself feel. That clarity gave you power, but it also distanced you from your own softness, your own warmth. You have been telling yourself that you are fine, that the quiet does not reach you anymore. But this card sees right through that, because she does not appear for people who moved on. She arrives when you are still standing guard over something you refuse to admit you still want. Your mind became your fortress, and you convinced yourself that thinking clearly meant you were healed. But underneath all that composure, your heart has been whispering things your logic cannot overpower. You are exhausted from pretending that none of this affects you, and your body feels it too. The armor you wear has quietly become heavier than the pain it was ever designed to block. There are nights where your thoughts circle back without permission, and you lay there, wide awake. You feel it most in the stillness, when there is nothing around to distract you from the truth. You have mastered the art of looking unbothered, but your spirit tells a completely different story. Your strength has been your only shield for so long, and even shields grow too heavy to carry. The next card coming through is the Four of Cups in reverse, and this changes everything. For a long time, you sat in emotional withdrawal, refusing to look at what was being offered. You convinced yourself that detachment was healing, that walking away from feelings meant real growth. But this reversal tells me something inside of you is waking up, and you cannot stop it. A door you thought you sealed shut is creaking open again, and feelings behind it rush forward. You are starting to realize that the numbness was never peace, it was protection, now cracking. A restlessness in your chest will not quiet down, no matter how many times you ignore it. You catch yourself drifting back to this connection at the strangest moments, always by surprise. The resistance you built is softening whether you want it to, and your heart knows it first. You are no longer able to pretend it does not matter, because your own energy betrays you. Something in your gut has been pulling you forward, toward a truth you keep trying to avoid. And every time you push it down, it returns louder, more certain than the time before it. Then we have the Star, and this card tells me something deeply important about where you stand. You are entering a phase of emotional renewal, and your spirit is beginning to open again. The heaviness you carried for so long is starting to lift, and you feel it in your body. Hope is returning to a place inside you that went dark, and honestly, it frightens you. Not because you do not want it, but hoping again means risking what once shattered you completely. This card does not arrive for those who are closed. It arrives for those ready to receive. Your intuition has been louder than usual, and you have been sensing things you cannot explain. A knowing lives inside of you that a shift is near, and you feel it in your bones. You have done the inner work when nobody was watching, and that growth created this very moment. The healing you gave yourself in private, that is the reason this reading exists for you today. Your walls remain standing, but they are thinner than they have ever been, and you know it. The cards on your side are clear, and they all point to quiet preparation for something real. You may not have said it out loud yet, but your energy has already made its own decision. Everything inside of you is aligning, even the parts you thought were still too broken to move. Now let us see what the cards are showing today about what is happening inside of them. This person has been at war with themselves, and the battle has been going on for a while. They did not expect the silence to cost this much, and it is eating them alive inside. What started as a decision made from pride turned into something they no longer have control over. The guilt is constant, and it follows them into every quiet moment they try to find peace in. They replay the way things ended between you, and every version of that memory stings differently. The first card pulled for them is the Knight of Pentacles, and this one reveals their inner paralysis. This person has not moved forward, and the stillness they sit in is not calm, it is fear. They have been overthinking every possible outcome, and that overthinking has kept them completely frozen. Each scenario they imagine leads to rejection, and that fear alone is enough to keep them silent. This card does not appear for people who let go. It appears for those still holding on. They are gripping this connection beneath the surface, and their knuckles are white from the pressure. What keeps them stuck is the belief that they have already ruined things beyond any possible repair. They tell themselves that too much time has passed, that reaching out now would only cause more damage. But that logic is crumbling
because the longer they wait, the worse the ache inside of them grows. Their pride built a wall that their heart never agreed to, and that conflict is tearing them apart. They wake up with you on their mind, and they fall asleep, still carrying the same unresolved weight. Nothing in their daily routine has filled the space that your absence carved so deeply into them. The next card coming through is the Moon, and this one exposes the fears they refuse to name. This person is terrified of being vulnerable with you because vulnerability is what wounded them before. They have been living behind illusions they built to protect their own ego, and those walls are cracking. The fear is not rejection. The fear is that you will finally see who they truly are underneath. They carry shame about the way they handled things, and that shame distorts how they view themselves. In their mind, they have become the villain of this story, and that identity haunts them deeply. This card confirms that confusion dominates their inner world, and clarity has not yet found them. They want to reach out, but every time they get close to it, doubt pulls them right back. Their emotions are tangled in ways they cannot sort through alone, and they know it in their gut. The moon reveals that their silence was never calculated. It was a panic response dressed as indifference. They were drowning in feelings they did not know how to process, and shutting down felt like survival. But survival mode has an expiration date, and theirs is running out faster than they anticipated. Then we have the Three of Swords in reverse, and this card goes straight into their deepest wound. The heartbreak they caused you, they have been carrying it too, and it cuts them from the inside. This reversal means the pain is no longer fresh. It has settled into something chronic and unavoidable. They thought time would soften what they feel, but instead it sharpened every regret into something unbearable. Healing has not come for them because they know the wound cannot close without your presence in it. The grief they carry is not dramatic or loud, it is the quiet kind that never fully leaves. They have tried to distract themselves with everything available, and nothing has worked even for a moment. Every substitute they reached for only reminded them of what was real, and what was real was you. The ache has become part of their daily existence, and they have stopped pretending it will just disappear. They know in the deepest part of themselves that the only relief lives in honoring what they lost. This person sits in a space of deep emotional conflict, torn between fear and the need to return. Their inner world is heavy with unspoken words, and those words grow louder with every passing day. They are not indifferent, they are overwhelmed, and the difference between those two is everything right now. The cards confirm that their silence was never about you. It was always about their own unraveling.
Okay, let us go deeper into this and look at the movement that is forming around this connection. This part is about what this person is actively doing and the steps they are preparing to take. The hesitation that held them in place is beginning to crack, and forward motion is replacing it now. They are no longer sitting still with this, and the shift in their behavior is already visible. The first card pulled here is the Eight of Wands, and this card is pure acceleration and momentum. Something has been set into motion that cannot be undone, and it is moving fast toward you. A message, a visible reach out,
a deliberate step forward. That is what this card brings forward. The delay that frustrated you is ending, and what replaces it is direct and intentional forward movement. This card does not arrive unless action is imminent, and what it confirms is that waiting is finished. They have crossed an internal line where staying silent became harder than the risk of stepping forward. Expect contact that feels sudden, because from your side, it will seem like it came out of nowhere. But on their end, this decision has been building quietly, and it finally hit the breaking point. The momentum behind this is not slow or cautious. It is swift and almost impossible to reverse. Plans are forming in their mind that involve you directly, and those plans are becoming more concrete. They are rehearsing conversations in their head, figuring out exactly what they want to say to you. The approach will not be vague or half committed because this card demands full and complete follow through. There may already be signs showing up around you, small signals that the landscape is shifting fast. A notification, a mutual connection surfacing, a subtle change in pattern. Pay close attention to those. The speed of this card matches the urgency building inside of them, and nothing is slowing it down. They are done with the back and forth, and the next move they make will be unmistakable. Everything about the way they are approaching this now carries intention, not impulse, but real decision. This person is no longer wondering whether to act. They have moved entirely past that phase. The internal debate has ended, and what remains is pure forward drive with no intention of turning back. Their behavior in the coming days will reflect a version of them you have not seen before. The passivity is gone, and in its place is a deliberate and focused intent aimed directly at you. Then we have the Chariot, and this card confirms that willpower is now driving every move they make. This person has made a decision, and the Chariot does not appear unless that decision is final. They are pulling themselves together with a discipline that was missing before, and their actions prove it. The scattered approach from earlier has been replaced by focus, and that focus is aimed right at you. This card represents a person no longer debating whether to move, but deciding exactly how and when. The internal conflict that kept them frozen has resolved, and one clear direction has won out completely. They are organizing their life around making space for this return, and the preparation is already underway. Old distractions are being cut away deliberately because they recognize those things kept them from you. The Chariot confirms that obstacles which once felt impossible are now being handled one by one. They are clearing the path between you, and every barrier that stood in the way is being removed. This is not a person tiptoeing toward you. This is a person marching forward with full certainty. The drive behind their movement is determined, and there is nothing hesitant about what is forming next. Their next step involves becoming visible to you again, in a way that leaves zero room for doubt. Whether through words or presence, the action they take will carry weight. You can actually feel. What the cards confirm in this part is straightforward. The waiting phase is over and momentum has arrived. This person is moving. The direction is toward you, and the pace is faster than anyone expected. The action forming around this connection is undeniable, and every card pulled here confirms it clearly. What comes next will not be subtle, and when it arrives, you will know exactly what it means. Now, let us go into it and uncover what this person has been hiding beneath every silence. These are the confessions they have never spoken and the desires they bury deeper each day. Words sit at the edge of their tongue constantly, and they swallow them down every single time. The truth they carry is heavier than anything shown, and it consumes them entirely in private. They have rehearsed telling you everything more times than you imagine, and they never follow through. Not because the feelings are uncertain, but because the depth of what they feel terrifies them. The first card pulled here is the Ace of Cups, and this exposes the raw truth they conceal. What they refuse to say is that they are completely, undeniably still in love with you. This is not a lingering fondness or a passing thought. It is a flood they cannot contain. They tried to rationalize it, shrink it down into something manageable, and they failed every time. This card does not appear unless the heart is overflowing, and theirs has been for a while. They secretly want a fresh beginning with you, one that erases the damage and starts clean. What they hide is the fantasy they replay at night, the version of your life they still build. In that vision, they never left, and the silence never happened, and everything between you stayed whole. They imagine waking up beside you without the weight of regret, and that image haunts them daily. The confession buried deepest is that they know you are irreplaceable, and it terrifies them beyond words. They have compared every interaction since yours, and nothing has ever come close to matching it. Every connection attempted after you felt hollow, and that emptiness confirmed what they already suspected. The unspoken admission is that losing you taught them what love actually meant, far too late. A hunger lives inside them that no distraction could satisfy, because you are the only answer to it. They crave the safety your presence gave them, and no substitute has been able to replicate that warmth. The next card coming through is the Devil in reverse, and this strips away their last disguise. What this reversal exposes is the chains they wrapped around their own heart and the lies beneath them. They convinced themselves that leaving was strength, and that cutting you off proved they had control. But the hidden truth is that control was an illusion, and underneath it, they were falling apart. The confession they guard most fiercely is that they need you, not from habit, but from recognition. They recognize something in you found nowhere else, and that recognition will not fade or dissolve. This card reveals that they secretly fear they have become unworthy of the love you once gave. The shame of how they handled things convinced them that they no longer deserve your tenderness. They punish themselves in silence for what they did, and that punishment has become their daily ritual. They want to be vulnerable with you again, but vulnerability is exactly what broke them once before. The hidden desire beneath everything is not just reconciliation, it is permission to be fully seen. They want you to look at them without judgment, and that fear of rejection keeps them mute. Every mask they wear for the world comes off when they think of you, and it overwhelms them. What they will never admit to anyone is that you occupy a space no one else has touched. A room exists inside of them that belongs only to you, and no one else has ever entered. That sacred space remains untouched and waiting because they refuse to let anything else fill your place. The words they choke back most often are the simplest, and those simple words carry the most weight. They want to tell you they were wrong, and that the silence was the worst decision they made. They want to hear your voice without the static of pride, just your voice and nothing else. The confession underneath all of it is that they never stopped choosing you, even when actions said otherwise. These cards expose a person drowning in unspoken truth, and the surface is finally beginning to break. Everything they refuse to say lives right beneath the skin, and it presses outward, harder every day. The hidden world inside of them is full of you, and no silence could ever change that truth. What they conceal is not confusion, it is absolute clarity, wrapped in fear they have not conquered.
So let us see what the cards are showing about the near future surrounding this entire connection. What is ahead of you is not uncertain, and the cards leave very little room for misinterpretation. The first card pulled is the Ten of Cups, and this carries some of the strongest energy possible. This card represents emotional fulfillment, lasting union, and a love that reaches its highest possible form. What the near future holds is a coming together that feels whole, grounded, and built on real truth. The cycle of distance and silence is reaching its natural end, and reunion is forming before you. This is not a temporary reconnection, the Ten of Cups confirms that what returns is meant to stay. The bond between you is being restored to something stronger because both sides grew through separation. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune, and this confirms that timing is now working in your favor. A destined shift is underway, and the universe itself is aligning circumstances to bring you together. What once felt stuck and impossible is beginning to turn, and that turn accelerates with each passing day. The wheel does not spin without purpose, and in this reading, it spins directly toward reconciliation. Here is my advice to you, and I want you to carry this forward with you starting today. Do not chase what is already coming toward you, because pursuing it too hard could disrupt the flow. Stay grounded in the healing you have already done, and trust that your growth speaks louder than words. When this person reaches out, meet them with honesty, but also with boundaries that protect your peace. You do not owe them immediate forgiveness, but keeping the door open allows truth to walk through. Let their actions confirm what the cards have shown, because words alone are not enough this time. Trust yourself above everything else, because your intuition has been guiding you correctly through all of this. The work you did in silence was never wasted, and it positioned you perfectly for what arrives next. Let us come back to the message that opened this reading, because it deserves to be heard again. The message was reunion and a final decision, and they regret giving you a silent treatment. Every single card that came through today confirmed that message, from the very first pull to last. The Tower in reverse showed the breakdown stayed internal, and your connection survived what should have ended it. The Six of Cups brought nostalgia flooding back, proving that the past still holds deep emotional power. The Hierophant confirmed that this bond carries sacred weight, and it was never meant to be thrown away. The Queen of Swords revealed your strength and clarity, even while your heart quietly ached beneath it all. The Four of Cups in reverse showed you waking up emotionally, ready to receive what is being offered. The Star confirmed your healing and renewal, placing you in direct alignment with what is arriving next. The Knight of Pentacles exposed their paralysis, showing that their stillness was fear, not indifference. The Moon uncovered the illusions and shame they wrapped around themselves, and those walls are finally crumbling. The Three of Swords in reverse confirmed that heartbreak turned inward, becoming chronic and unavoidable for them. The Eight of Wands brought swift momentum, confirming that action is no longer a question, but a certainty. The Chariot locked in their decision with willpower and focus, proving they are moving directly toward you. The Ace of Cups revealed the love they still carry, overflowing and impossible for them to contain. The Devil in reverse stripped their final disguise, exposing the need and recognition they tried to deny. The Ten of Cups sealed the future with fulfillment, and the Wheel of Fortune confirmed divine timing. Every card in this reading